Welcome to the wild city of Anchorage. Like all urban jungles, this is a city plagued by thieves and petty crime. But here in Anchorage, the culprits aren't human, they're wild animals. This unique Arctic metropolis is home to 5 wild wolf packs, hundreds of bears, and over 2,000 moose. This city spends most of the year encased in ice. But when summer hits, Anchorage bursts into life. Animals and plants living this far north must work fast to make the most of the short season. But animals built to withstand Alaska's extreme winters struggle in the summer heat. Forest fires, infestations, and angry animals can all make the sizzling summers truly uncomfortable in this wild city. Almost a third of Alaska lies above the Arctic Circle. And almost half of the state is a vast treeless desert known as tundra. Beneath the snow lies a layer of ice that in some places is hundreds of meters thick. The state's 3,000 river systems also lie frozen for most of the year, with average temperatures below freezing, even in the far south. But this huge barren wilderness is full of life that has adapted to its climate and mastered this extreme environment. Caribou, lynx, and wolves. They are all able to survive Alaska's punishing winters thanks to their unique anatomical adaptations. But over 100,000 bears wait out the winter by hibernating beneath the snow. Plants too go into suspended animation, waiting for spring to arrive. And when it does, Alaska undergoes a remarkable transformation. The sun, which in some parts of Alaska hasn't been seen for over 3 months, rises higher and higher in the sky. And, known as the breakup, rising temperatures melt the sea ice, which soon allows the rivers to flow once more. As the snow melts, the permafrost beneath the soil means the water has nowhere to go, creating millions of lakes. And these wetlands burst into life with plants that have adapted to these unique tundra conditions. In the forests, black and brown bears awaken with only food on their minds, creating a habitat unlike almost anywhere else on Earth. And within this wilderness, 300,000 people live alongside these wild animals in the growing city of Anchorage. But in this urban jungle, the sizzling summer heat sometimes brings conflict between humans and wildlife.
Come on! Oh my God, there's
The short, frost-free growing season here in Anchorage is just 100 days. And summer temperatures can be surprisingly hot, with average July highs of 26 degrees Celsius. While human development has removed much of the animal's natural habitat in this area, some animals have learned to make the most of summer in this urban jungle. 2,000 moose live in Anchorage all year round. And when their calves are born in late May, 8 months after last year's rutting season, the city can be a hot and sweaty place. But sometimes living so close to people provides Anchorage's urban moose with a special treat. Moose calves can walk within just a few minutes of being born, and must quickly learn to fend for themselves. By this time next year, they will have left their mother and be surviving alone. In the summer heat, mother moose like these are extremely protective, making them the second most dangerous mammal on Earth, behind only the hippopotamus. But it isn't only moose that are feeling the heat in this wild city. Dozens of brown bears are also trying to stay cool in the hottest part of the day. In preparation for summer, brown bears shed their thick winter fur, leaving a more sparse, shorter coat to allow their body heat to escape. They also pant like dogs, cooling the blood in their tongue, which then circulates around the body to prevent overheating. The brown bears here are searching for food, in particular the newborn moose calves that are hiding out in people's backyards. They are the largest terrestrial carnivore, weighing up to 680 kilos, and need a huge amount of food to build up fat stores for next winter's hibernation. Most calories will be sourced during the autumn salmon run in the city's rivers. But they also scavenge, and their sense of smell is more powerful than a bloodhound's, capable of detecting a carcass over 30 kilometers away. But the scent of the city's trash in the summer heat is also hard to resist. And when a large brown bear associates food with people, it sometimes needs to be put down, leaving orphan cubs that can't fend for themselves. But bears rehomed at Alaska Zoo must also deal with the city's summer heat. Jake, Oreo, and Izzy have been cared for by zoo director Patrick since they were cubs.
Some of the things we do in the hot summer days to help keep the bears cool are to bring in shaved ice and put out in the exhibits for them. We'll set up sprinklers to sprinkle water onto them to cool them down. Our brown bears are probably the luckiest of all the bears because there's actually a natural stream that runs through the corner of their exhibit, so they have access to about 45, 50 degree water anytime they want it. And I've seen all three of our brown bears all lying together side by side in the pool on a hot summer day. So we have a number of different things that we do with the bears to try to beat the heat.
But there's one thing the zoo's brown bears prefer more than anything else. And over in the food preparation area, Sam is preparing their favorite summer treat.
So today I'm making some popsicles for the brown bears. It's really hot in the summer here in Alaska, well, relatively, about 70 degrees, but the animals up here get really hot. They like to lay out and have some nice cold popsicles to relax with on a hot day. Today we have all fruit popsicles for the brown bears, but they like any sort of thing. So sometimes we'll make meat pops or salmon, blood popsicles. But today we have an abundance of fruit, so that is what it's gonna be.
But it's not just about keeping the bears cool. It's also about making their lives more interesting.
So enrichment is really anything that changes up their daily schedule, whether it be the time that we feed them, what we feed them, how we feed them. So if it's ice popsicles, it'll take them longer to get it out of the ice than it would if they were just fed, straight food.
But today, heat is the problem, as temperatures have soared to 28 degrees. So the popsicles can't come soon enough.
Our popsicles are all ready to go, so we're gonna go feed them to the brown bears now.
Bears have the most varied diet of any mammal, and keeping up with their huge appetites is a challenge for the keepers all summer long. But having hand-reared these bears since cubs, there is no way such huge animals can be released into the wild, in case they come in search of people to find food.
Unfortunately, it's not possible to release bear cubs back into the wild, and that decision is the Alaska Department of Fish and Game for brown bears and black bears, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service for polar bears. Bear cubs will normally stay with their mothers for 2 to 3 years to learn how to survive. If you had them in captivity and waited till they were 2 or 3 years old, they become imprinted on people and expect to get food from people and have not learned the skills they need to survive out in the wild. So most likely they would die going out into the wild, and the possibility that they could hurt a innocent person out there thinking that they're supposed to be providing food for them.
This heat wave may be producing record temperatures here in Anchorage, but summer in Alaska's interior is always even hotter. Hundreds of miles from the coast, summer temperatures sometimes hit 37 degrees Celsius. The 24-hour sunlight provides a huge amount of solar energy, allowing plants to grow rapidly. This stifling heat usually coincides with the hatching of trillions of mosquitoes and flies, laid here last summer. The eggs have lain dormant in the snow all winter. But now, these shallow tundra lakes provide the ideal incubator for the insect larvae, which emerge in their trillions, making life unbearable for the animals that live here. But it also attracts billions of birds. Including a species of godwit that breeds here in the summer, before making a non-stop 12,000-kilometer flight all the way to New Zealand. This insect invasion also makes life hell for animals living here in the city of Anchorage. Including humans, who sometimes forget they're living in the heart of the wilderness, but they're fighting back. Today, pest controller Robert Duran has been called in to tackle a nest of potentially dangerous yellow jackets.
That's worse. This time of day, you know, I'm worried about whether they're going to be active or not. They were active earlier today, and they stung the dog and the guys that were doing some painting around the house and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
They can sting multiple times. Unlike a honeybee can only sting you one time and they're dead. So that's why people that are really allergic, it can be deadly.
Contrary to popular belief, yellow jacket wasps do serve a purpose, pollinating flowers. Social wasps, like yellow jackets, mate once a year, after which the males will die off, while females will burrow into the ground, lying dormant all winter. In the spring, a fertilized female wasp starts her colony by laying eggs in cell-like pods. Larvae hatch from the eggs, and their diet changes more towards protein. And that usually coincides with barbecue season, bringing wasps into conflict with humans. This nest has actually been formed inside the barbecue, so using a pesticide could have dangerous side effects.
Because they're in your barbecue grill, we're not going to use a pesticide.
Okay.
We're going to use a vacuum. It's going to take, it's
cool.
going to take a while.
You're going to wear a suit, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Yeah, we'll wear a suit.
They're active. And you see those
Up on the deck,
hairs?
Robert notices the wasp's classic nest-building behavior.
Pretty active. There's usually, we call them sentries, but they're staying right outside the entrance and they're watching. They'll have 3 to 4 insects on the outside just waiting and watching. So they're very protective, but you definitely want to be inside when we're doing that. We'll get going though.
Sounds good.
Normally, Robert would leave a wasp nest alone. But the yellow jackets from this nest have now stung a number of people, and Colleen is unable to use her barbecue.
Right now, I'm just trying to get the insects that are flying back into the hive. They've been out gathering food and nesting materials.
Still unsure of the size of the nest, Robert's protective suit is essential.
These insects, when they feel threatened, they'll release a pheromone that the other insects pick up on, and then several will start to come out, and even the ones that are coming back will sense there's danger, and they'll start to act much more aggressively.
But once the majority of the worker wasps have been collected, the nest turns out to be smaller than expected.
Okay, so there's the queen. You can see she's quite a bit larger. They're not at all as aggressive as the worker bees. You can see the larvae here. You can see them, they're very much alive. There's multiple tiers inside the nest itself. If this were left here, it would just continue to get larger and larger and larger. But she's from last winter. And you can see she's not willing to leave the nest. She wants to stay and protect the young. Now that this has been taken down, the queen's been removed, any other insects that come nearby or come back looking for the nest, they'll discover it was destroyed, and so they'll go elsewhere.
Plagues of insects make Anchorage a hostile place all summer long. But there's another summer phenomenon that affects this area on a biblical scale: wildfires. And preventing them is virtually impossible.
The trick in wildfire management, especially here in a place that can get as hot and dry as it does here in the summer, is we want fire to occur, but we also don't want to burn down communities.
Tackling wildfires when they occur is important. But Christy at the Wildlife Refuge thinks much, much further ahead.
So when you think about when a wildfire starts, there's only a few things that will stop it. Somehow you need to break the cycle of either the fuel, the heat, or the oxygen. The heat, if you don't catch it small, you don't have a whole lot to stop the fire. And then the oxygen's unlikely outside. So when you're pre-planning for the possibility of a large wildfire, the best thing to do is be proactive and preventative with the fuels.
And the main fuel Christy needs to manage may come as a surprise.
What we do is we measure the live fuel moisture, and that's the trees, the shrubs, the herbaceous vegetation, dried grass, obviously. But mostly we actually look at the duff or the ground under the surface of how dry that is. And that's our true indicator of, if it does take, how hard is it going to be to control it?
To find out the current fire risk, Christy takes a fuel moisture sample.
Okay, so we reach down until we feel either ice or mineral soil. These are layers that are burnable. The first is the live moss. And if that's dry enough, then if we get some source of ignition, say lightning or a human source of ignition, it'll actually catch fire. And this is pretty dry right now. The next layer right here, it's considered dead moss. Just below that, this is what's called the upper duff. Upper duff is actually moss that started to disintegrate and become detritus, but it's not soil.
And if a fire spreads to this level, it is almost impossible to extinguish.
So we've been watching, and we have not had very much precipitation. Currently, we have very long solar days, and we're keeping a lot of solar radiation on the fuels, which preheats them. Because of this, coupled with winds and high temperatures, we're in very high to extreme fire danger right now as we speak.
But Christy doesn't see all fires as destructive.
Part of my job as a jurisdictional fire management officer is not to suppress the fire. I need to look for opportunities when we can embrace fire or manage it for multiple benefits, and that would be the benefits of the change in the forest.
The same fires that can destroy human habitat are actually creating new habitat for the wildlife.
Wildfire is a very needed landscape disturbance in a boreal system, and we are a boreal forest. And by boreal forest, I mean that we get cold winters and relatively warm summers. And fire is the change agent.
And one fire that created more change in the forest than any other in living memory was the infamous Funny River Fire.
When people go out to a wildfire, they tend to just see a bunch of black trees. But what you don't think about is these black trees used to be a real thick canopy of just maybe one culture of tree, just one thing. So now with this, if you look up, the tree canopy is completely gone. So there's all this abundance of sunlight, and this herbaceous vegetation that wasn't here before can just flourish.
And it's this new vegetation that will also bring the animals back to the forest.
There's just, there's a huge variety of plants here, and this will grow up, and it provides food and habitat for everybody, all the wildlife.
And the recovery of this forest will have an impact on Alaska's most iconic animal.
The story here is that the moose are very much dependent on this young hardwood browse that comes up from fires, and the reality is that fires don't occur that frequently. Any given acre is only likely to burn every few hundred years. Generations can pass between when you have high moose densities and when you have low moose densities. So the bottom line is lots of people are actually excited here on the Kenai about the fact that we're having big fire, because what it will mean is that in a few years we'll have large moose population on the Kenai Peninsula.
And with more summer wildfires looking likely, the future looks bright for the moose. Which also means more wildlife causing havoc on the streets of Anchorage. But right now, these Arctic animals living in a hot and sticky city are hoping this long, hot summer will soon come to an end.